Okay, I know how this looks like. Last video, this guy was dead. Now he's alive. What's up with that? Well, funny story, I guess. Okay, so I feel like has it been a while? It has been a while. I actually don't know, like, since when? Since an actual video. But here we are, and I feel like most of you don't remember who I am. That's fine. What am I kidding? Most of you are my friends. You'd probably remember who I am. Maybe? I am Skohui. I'm like 27 by now, I think. I'm a software engineer in a games industry. Other than that, just a guy. Just a guy. Nothing weird about him at all. Like, I'm just a very regular, normal guy. It's crazy. And to me, YouTube is nothing. But back when it actually was something, right? I had this little series that I very originally, very thought out. I called it College. In it, I talked about, this is crazy, college. This little series is the only thing anyone has ever asked me to continue. I don't think anyone really asked for anything in particular, but then again, I don't think there was any that we had a lot of choice in what series I would continue and what I would not continue. And so I have decided, because I want to make videos again, and I don't know what the fuck to make, or I do, but I take too long because I want to make crazy shit. Am I centered? I'm not centered. Hold up. Someone has been requesting that I make this video. Here we are. This is the college video. So in this series, basically I would cover a year of my college and like say what I think about it and like other thoughts, just talk about it in general. And I made a total of 3 videos, which I can quickly describe. I will talk about them later. If I were to put them in the context of pizza, like enjoying pizza, I would say the first one is the filling, like the middle part. The second is the crust, and the third is the table. Let's just begin. College 1, first year of college. This video is actually still up, so if you wanted to, I suppose you could go check it out. It's not that good, but it's like a time capsule type of thing. Just fresh out of high school, started college, no, habits or studying techniques that would benefit me at all. And then I got into, computer engineering, which is hard, and I was not prepared for it. Thus, I was hit with a wall pretty fast. I mean, I already mentioned in the video that I failed calculus, at least a test. I don't think at the time I was really aware I was actually going to fail calculus a lot. Beginning of the end, as they say. But otherwise, it's a pretty normal, like nothing. I'm just talking about college, just saying some things and keeping a cadence that was very usual for me at the time when making videos. But other than that, there's not much noteworthy to say. College 2. College 2 is a decline. It's a fast decline, in fact. It's just a year apart, but everything had gone to shit at that point. We're talking 3rd semester, right? That 2nd year, absolutely horrid. The video content is just me saying, with a kind of regretful tone, like giving tips on what someone should do if they're getting into college. I don't think they're applicable to anyone else but me, but it was just me, that way of putting those thoughts, but very depressed throughout the whole thing. The thing is, most people around me were also very depressed, or a bit depressed. I don't know, that was the vibe. The general vibe of it was that, so I feel like, I guess it's just what is expected from that course. College 3. So College 3 is this is the breaking point, My degree, which is a bachelor's degree at the time, was 3 years. That's the projected time. I did not finish it in 3 years, and that did not spell a good future to me or that I was worthy of anything at all. And at this point, I'm not just depressed. I'm like, fuck my entire life type of way. I mean, look at this guy, right? This guy is not well. I suppose the genre of the video is comedy, unlike the second video where the tips were more or less real, let's say. This is just me saying bullshit, even though I feel like they would translate as sarcasm and jokes. Me knowing what happened, there was very clearly a cry for help. Even if I did open up at the end a little bit, it it was way worse than that. This makes sense if you look into what was the next video that I made after that perhaps things were not well. But this was also the time where I made the most videos, I think. But this was the time where I thought, like, legitimately, I have no future in tech and whatever I'm studying, and fuck it, maybe YouTube will pan out. It did not, because I dropped the whole fucking thing. But you know, that was the vibe basically that I was operating on. And that concludes all the videos I have made. So now is me feeling what the fuck happened after all that. College 4, right? That doesn't exist, but the 4th year of college. You may remember that something happened during that time. Let's just say college 3 was 2019. It was a transitory time. Everybody's confused, but in terms of college, I was finishing up every leftover I had to do. So there were no new classes, I think. Technically, I had Calculus 3 for the first time in the 4th year. And I actually don't really remember much, you know, little details about my mood or whatever. All I know, I mean, it's the pandemic. All I know is that very good timing. I took full advantage of the pandemic. I don't feel the sins on my back at all. Like, the ones I took most advantage of, these were complicated classes. I did not get that much crazy grades thanks to all the cheating I did. And I don't feel like I'm a fraud because I've never been asked to do any of those things since then. It is just general engineering things that I was never gonna touch. So it's whatever, man. So yeah, the cleanup went pretty well, but it was not a full, you know, I did not succeed all the way. There were still some stragglers, and thus we have College 5. College as a series was about my bachelor's degree for the most part, because, I mean, that's all I had at the time. And in my head, I always knew I don't want to do a master's, because I looked at a thesis and I thought, that shit is not for me. I cannot research shit for the life of me, okay? And it's already bad if I already know, like, the shit exists and I just need to read something. If it's something that does not exist and I'm spearheading that shit, yeah, man, I did not see me doing that. But I was not the one paying for my college. And the payers of my college, aka my parents, they were like, this is what it was all for. Right? This is what it was all about. And thus I got into my master's while still finishing my bachelor. I had like 2 classes left. I did not fail a single class after 4th year. Everything after, I always passed. Even if the grades were not the best, I at least passed. I did not fail anything as far as I remember. I don't think I did. So yeah, I mean, it was the finishing lap. It was the hardest classes, I think, that were left for last, and me pulling it off was crazy, right? 'Cause the very last one was called compilers. I don't speak English. But it was basically just very, very, very low level shit about how a language is made, kind of thing, right? It's crazy. And this was like my Achilles heel. It was so hard. I did not understand a goddamn thing. It didn't help. My teacher was Spanish, right? So the Portuguese, the speech was not exactly, understandable. My group mate at first felt like he was gonna give me a little carry. Then he fucking dipped out of the fucking planet Earth. And I somehow still made it through while doing my master's. Because guess what? Master classes are so fucking easy, it's actually ridiculous. Of course, I did, my friends did a little bit of a selection, a little bit of looking which ones did not involve a test for the most part, but instead a project. Because who would have thought that a project, which is a thing you do like from day one basically to the last day, versus a thing you have to cram on that day specifically, wow, the first one is way easier, would have thought. So yeah, it was a breeze, honestly. It was crazy to me how easier, considering how the expertise that you're expecting of someone who does a master's, it was crazy how fucking ridiculous. I rapped for my masters. I don't know if I think I still have it. If I have it, I'll dare to play that shit. money on my motherfucking mind. Top 5 records at the same time. White gold pen, jet ski, made a wine. Freud, grab, bust of all, but Einstein, give money. I did this for one of my master classes on whatever the fuck, production of media content, something like that. Ridiculous. And then the final year, kind of, not really, but college 6 was not my I graduated bachelor's, thankfully. I don't think I had closed it yet, as in I got the diploma. I don't know when I got the diploma. My master's degree was like pretty much finishing, so the classes continued to be mostly easy. I had some, I think this last year, I did have some classes that were like, I was losing my mind over, but mostly because of like group dynamics more than anything. Like I had this group with a guy that was fucking awful. I don't think throughout my entire time there were moments that tested me, but I didn't really lash out on anyone that I like, even people I had to carry. It was still fine, but this was ridiculous, right? This guy was like, it was a bitch. that's how I'd put it. It was a bitch. It was a fucking bitch, and so annoying, but it's fine. Got through it. It's whatever. It was done. Then came ringing the fucking Grim Reaper. The thesis. This thesis was ridiculous. Again, I didn't want anything hard, so I looked through like what would interest me or what seemed easy. Of course, there was nothing, right? But there was this one that involved the gaming in some capacity. Do I remember what it's called? It was called something like it's about how the big five, no, not exactly that, our personality types would affect some the zero-sum fallacy type of thing. Man, can you imagine that this is not actually anything to do with my degree? I did not take psychology. I'm doing computer engineering. I don't know what, just because things seemed easy, it doesn't mean they were. I think I would have rather I coded something than look up some shit that I'd never learned. And yeah, I said there was gaming involved because something about the title or the description mentioned that it was gonna be seen through the lenses of like a game, right? I don't know if I misunderstood what a game meant, because I know a lot of research in this type of psychology uses games, the fucking Prisoner's Dilemma and whatever. It's kind of a game, right? So when I got to the first meeting with the advisors, which I had 3, by the way, so that shit was crowded, okay? I felt the pressure every day. And I go in there and I say, hey, I was, because they explained the entire premise, but they never mentioned gaming. So I was like, I was curious because when I read the description, it said something about gaming. Two-thirds of the advisors just look at me like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I don't know what that's the point where I realized, holy shit, man. I fucked up big time. I guess it was a bit of a red flag when I just sent an email to the teacher asking like, what is this about? I want more information. And the response was them giving it to me. I didn't even say I wanted it. I just said I was interested and say, it's yours. Fuck. I never wrote a word of my thesis. I'm gonna be so honest. I was so confused on what to do, and it never made any sense. And this was already the time that ChatGPT was popping off. But in my head, I was like, I'm not gonna use it because that's just ridiculous, Like, I guess maybe I was wrong, Maybe I was wrong, but I felt like that would make me a fraud, right? If I wrote a thesis with ChatGPT, it would make me a fraud in some capacity. It's stupid. I know. I'm just being noble and honorable for no reason. Like, we say in Portuguese, at this point in the championship, it's a bit late to be taking those hits, those noble hits, because I was already cheating through my bachelor's to finish it during the COVID years. So, a bit of a double standard, I suppose, but I guess, whatever. still kind of stand by it. I feel like if you're doing research, it should be useful to society. And if you have a master's, it should be reflected, it should be useful. Because I didn't see how on earth I will walk up to someone and I say, I have a master's. And somehow that's supposed to be put me over someone who has a bachelor's. And I say, oh yeah, my master's is about fucking personality types. I'm a computer engineer. This makes no sense. So yeah, as soon as all my classes were done, that's it. I didn't do anything else. So I was stun locked for a year on that thesis. I managed to weasel myself out of those meetings. It basically got settled that we'd have the next meeting once I actually made anything. Never made anything, so never had any meetings, so never had to be in that fucking crowded room. And yeah, that year was weird because I wasn't looking for a job because my parents didn't want me to get a job without a master's. They were just dead set on this idea that I needed that shit. So I wasn't looking, but I also wasn't doing my master's. So it's kind of like, it was a weird time. I guess, I went to look for a girlfriend during that time. I was like, well, shit, if I got all this free time. That shit worked out somehow. It was crazy. And in the meantime, my friends were still like doing their theses. On occasion, I would check in on, their progress. Because naturally, if they're going through that trouble, however the fuck they did it, I don't care. But if they're going through that, I would like to at least support it. Let's just say, I remember this one day where I had my friends over and we were, at my house. It was the time to eat and I was going to call them down to come eat. So I knocked on their room they were staying and I opened the door and I see my friend, eyes bulging, red, crying his heart out. Not really like bawling, like screaming or anything, but like the influx of tears that came was considerable because his eyes everything was red. My first thought was like he's either sick or he got beat up, right? I don't know who said it or how they said it, but something along the lines of, oh, don't worry, I'm just having a breakdown over the thesis. Like, you could not convince me to go through this shit. Like, what? This is not normal. This is not okay. Like, no. Like, you have to consider the downhill decline was still, I wasn't getting better necessarily, I was on edge the entire time because I was feeling like my academic life was shit. The entire thing was shit for nothing. I was never gonna have a job. I was actually worried about that shit. So you're telling me now at the end of it where I'm sick of studying, I want to have some kind of worth. You're telling me to go through this fucking maniac fucking gauntlet shit? No, I don't give a fuck about the money that was spent on my masters. I'm not gonna do this shit. So yeah, I didn't do it. It was crazy. It was a crazy decision. I don't have a lot of times where I took a leap like that, where I decided something so major, right? I mean, it's life defining, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. I decided, fuck it. This is final. I'm not doing the thesis. I'm looking for the job. I decided that myself against my parents' wishes. Listen, breaking this news to them, they took it. Not well, but they took it. Thankfully, I got a job not so long after, and it's been like that since then. I'm still working at that job. I got it very fast. That's my entire college life. I don't know if I probably glossed over some details. I mean, this surely shit happened. Yeah, so that's the end of college. That's what happened after, and during that entire time, as you know, we can all see no videos. I did not make any video, so this is me saying, you know what? I'm not gonna be a YouTuber. I'm not doing it to play that angle, but I have a creative need. I need a creative outlet, and I also need to play to my strengths. So making long ass videos with shit ton of edits, I think it's not in the cards, right? It's just a bit too hard, and the way my brain works, the bursts that it works in, I just can't do it because then it will never be made, and that somehow makes the ups of having a creative outlet be undermined by the downs of having so many projects that I don't finish and feeling bad about it. So I think it would be good to have things that I can actually finish in a reasonable time. So yeah, I hope this was enjoyable in some capacity. There will not be any other college videos, so you better like it. And yeah, hopefully this is the start of me, start having a bit of a presence online, just doing shit. I'm streaming on Twitch on occasion, whatever I feel like, same type of heuristic, if you will. Just streaming because I want to. Lo-fi stuff. Just only did one stream yet, but you can find me at twitch.tv, Skalhui with a bunch of O's. It should be on the screen or in the description. And yeah, I already know kind of what I want to make for the next video. And it will be just, from now on, just me getting on here and yapping about shit. So, yeah. I suppose that'll be all. Bye-bye.